taught you to think a certain way. The media, movies, our whole general culture has formed you into the human being that you are. So you are a slave. You don't know your potential of what you could have truly been. Like, we don't know the potential of a true human because we can't even think outside the box. If we try to think of like a creative idea, if we try to invent like right now, if I try to invent a time travel machine, I won't even be able to do it because everything that I would have learned through school and, you know, all the possible technologies and just basically everything that I've learned on this earth is telling me that it's impossible, because the movies I've seen on TV, the things that I may have read, what my teachers have taught me, it's all pointing to let me to think that it's impossible for me at this day and age to travel through time, right? But maybe if I grew up in a different educational system, I wasn't closed-minded by books.
So if you're raised in India instead of Canada or
maybe
Cuba?
If I was raised in the fucking forest and I was never exposed, like, this is an experiment I want to do. I'd want to find a human who was raised by nobody. He grew up on a deserted island and somehow this kid, maybe the monkeys fed him till he was like 4 or 5, till he could fucking fend for himself and grab his own coconuts. But basically a human who's never been exposed to any outside prejudices except his own thoughts and his own fucking mind.
You have to go study anthropology at school for 4 years, get 100 grand from the university you go to, and go do that.
Imagine, like, somebody who's never taught by teachers, somebody who was never told, no, it's wrong to steal, or no, don't lie, or it's bad to hit something, it's bad to, like, kill, just to see what our natural instincts would emerge. Like, would we naturally feel sympathy when we hurt an animal? Just because it's in our nature? I think we would too. But, you know, it would prove certain things, like what aspects of us are basically inherited by nature.
Maybe
and
not
what
if
aspects...
you have to hunt and eat meat.
Exactly, but maybe
maybe if monkeys raised you and gave
exactly, you might feel
you
so it'd be
meat or anything
it'd be like almost like a way to find a pure human, like what we really are without all these outside influences. Like the, you know, just like to grow up with nobody to teach you anything, nobody to even teach you math. Because now, if you know math, you know that 2 + 2 = 4. You know that certain things are impossible. You know that if you have like something in your, I know that if I have 2 pebbles in my hand and I go to open that hand, there's gonna be 2 pebbles there because everything.
Yeah, you don't put it in your hand.
You know, but like it's just like the laws of physics, everything that we've learned, our whole concept of everything, you know, makes us to believe that. But what if we were never taught these things? These things that limit us. It limits us from coming up with new ideas. It limits us from coming up with new inventions, with new theories, because we always say, oh no, this can't work because according to this guy's theory of this, it's gonna be impossible. Oh, I can't do this because according to everything that I've ever learned about physics, this is impossible. Or you know, I can't do this because we're always limited by what we've been taught. Imagine somebody who's just been left alone his whole life. Let's say a guy who's grown up by himself. And imagine an environment like a blank room. There's nothing to stimulate you. There's no sensory. There's nothing to touch. No colors. Just like a blank, endless nothingness with like water and food always appear there every day at the same time. So always
like how you would imagine a heaven scenario.
No, not heaven. Just like blank emptiness. Like nobody there. No, just like.
So like the Matrix before they started designing the Matrix.
You ever see Pirates of the Caribbean when Johnny Depp is lost in that weird place? And it's just like Pirates of the Caribbean where Johnny Depp is lost in that weird place and it's all like just white. Yeah, almost like that.
Yeah,
just
okay,
like
cool.
a white, empty nothingness.
Yeah.
And then that person basically has no stimuli, no outside like influences, and he grows up for 30 years only being able to entertain himself by wandering within his own mind. But nobody's ever taught him any outside influence. So his mind is his own. His thoughts are like unique thoughts because he's never even known like that he for example, he doesn't even know that humans die because nobody's ever told him that we have an expiry date. For all he knows, he might live forever, you know. So already his whole concept of reality and his whole concept of thinking is different because he doesn't know things like that death is inevitable, that like you know, like he doesn't know all the truths, you know what I mean? Like if he sees the rain, even though in this scenario there wouldn't be rain, he wouldn't know where the rain comes from, you know what I mean? Like nowadays
he wouldn't know clouds and
he wouldn't know. He would make up his own explanations.
He would think God did that,
but he wouldn't even know the concept of God because nobody would be.
That is trippy.
So would he create the concept of a God on his own? What would he think? See, like there's so many questions.
Would he think he did it and that he is a type of God?
Exactly. Like how would this person, that would be like the best fucking experiment ever. And then imagine this person has lived like that for 30 years, right? All of a sudden we find him, and within, let's say, 2 years, we teach him to read and to talk, and to write and to talk. That way he can express his experiences. So a man who's developed his own natural crazy way of thinking his whole life, all of a sudden, you know, we meet up with this guy who's never seen any other human before, and we teach him how to read and write, and now he's able to communicate back with us his outside of the box ideas, because he's not fucking he's not trapped by all these like rules and theories that we're all taught. You know what I mean? He's just like a clean mind, never influenced by other men. So now we teach this guy to write, and he can like I think this guy would be like a crazy poet or a writer or something, because he would have like a unique brain. Like he would be so different from any other person, because he'd been raised like by himself. Like he would just be a natural human, like a natural
He wouldn't even be a natural human, because how natural humans are raised with other humans.
That's true, but like, you know what I mean? Like he would be a product of just himself, like a product of his own genetics and his own instinct.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be a product
You know,
of any outside
I think that happens
influences.
on Earth naturally, based on who you interact with and what you interact with, every day, to thousands of people.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, every day, like everything we know is because we've learned from somebody. Imagine learning from nobody.